welcome to my channel. Welcome to this week's WiPnChat. Just doing all the technical bits, making sure sound is off and things like that. There is a movie on in the background. Hopefully it doesn't cause me any issues. Fingers crossed. Grab your cuppa. I have my bucket, oops, along with its trailing. Isn't it cute? My felt ball thing, that was a gift with darn good yarn a few months ago. Still working on the mystery diamond painting. I've got 3 pieces left to go. I don't think I actually got any painting done last week when I said I might do the painting on my own time. This week has been crazy. It's kind of been flipped on its head. To say that it hasn't gone as planned would be overstating it, because there were no plans, I suppose, for last week. There were plans, of course, for the coming week, and that's all gone awry. So, yeah, the consequences of that are that I know nothing. If you want to catch up on all of the gossip, you are probably best off going to my vlogs and catching up on my daily kind of thing, because it's there that I talk about more of the details, I suppose, of being on hold. Yeah. So, as of Friday, the plug got pulled on my surgery. Sorry, I just thought there was a no entry sign, and now I think it was a snail after all. So the plug got pulled on my surgery being on Monday, and now I've got to wait for red tape, bureaucracy and cyber stuff before I know anything more, in a nutshell. So, how long is a piece of string, and do I have Christmas? I don't know. Yeah, so I'm just gonna crack on and, you know, do what I can, I suppose, when I can. Which means that nothing is going to happen until tomorrow, and the phones are back manned. Sorry, what? I don't know why I'm looking at my phone. I actually need to look at the symbol. I'm all confused. So tomorrow, and I'll get back on the phone and start chasing people and seeing if some magic has happened over the weekend, and go from there. So yeah, last week was, you know, it was a non-event, sort of. I didn't know what day things were happening. Like, if it was Monday, Tuesday or Wednesday kind of thing. The days are definitely blurring into each other. Being at home rather than in work, with looking regularly at calendars and all of that kind of thing. So, I think a few creators that I've listened to have used this awesome word, discombobulated. It's a pretty good term for not knowing which way is up. Oh, and these are all miles too far away from me. So, the weekend adventures happened as normal. Well, not really as normal, because we actually brought the in-laws, Marcus's folks, along with us on this walk. And you'll get to see the photos for that later. He got me a Christmas present, part of the Christmas present. So this is part A, I suppose. This is the working part, and part B is the accompanying part. Part A arrived and part B is to come. And the people behind part B, who are, what is it? Scotty Makes Stuff on YouTube, and I think on his website. He is basically a boy child who, man-child even, that one, who likes to play with stuff and 3D printing and all things like that, and he created a 3D printed Steadicam that's better than most Steadicams in a professional ilk, apparently. So Marcus got me the gimbal that steadies the camera anyway and does all kinds of funky swinging around and all, you know, robotics and motors and all things that are exciting. So we took it with us.
Doesn't like robots?
Yeah, who doesn't like toys that are electronic? Yeah, you were watching a movie with robots go rogue. Although one may be becoming sentient. Yeah, it's not got good reviews. That's why the volume is down. So, he played with it first because I was on hold.
Because you told me to.
I told him he could because he would have been chomping at the bit, watching it forlornly, all lying there, all alone kind of thing on the table while I was otherwise occupied, because you press a button on a phone and of course the whole thing gets cut off. I'd already been cut off a few times by calls. So I wasn't going to go plugging the phone in and fiddling too much while I was on hold. So he got to play. And he's making it do follows, and he's making it do all kinds of nifty things, and I'm kind of thinking, yeah, okay. And when I had tried to figure it out, couldn't. It wasn't playing ball. It turns out that you've got to press a couple of buttons while it's figuring it out, and then it goes, oh, right, yes, there you are. So,
Says yes, master.
yeah. So I did play with it on the walk. Initially, I didn't, to be honest. Initially, I had it in my leggings leg pockets. Oh my god, I love my leggings leg pockets. They're like holsters for me. The phone goes on the thigh and the keys go on the thigh, and I don't have anything bulky on my hips, and it's fantastic. And there is one more pocket on the small of my back, but either way, the gimbal, because it's kind of like I guess like a gun kind of holder. It goes down together, folds into a U shape, and so I put the handle into my trousers and the outside, kind of like you'd stick sunnies into your t-shirt kind of thing. So it was like that on the leggings while I was walking, and I'm kind of thinking, yeah, I'm not really going to go using the gimbal here. And then, I don't know, the family went ahead and I got lost looking at a fern, the man ferns, the big ones. Yeah, it was like, okay, let's try it on the gimbal. So instead of just taking your normal still, I thought I had got all of these, but clearly overthought this one. Use the gimbal to film the length of the man fern. So the man fern, I'm 5 foot blah. The man fern was easily another half of me in the trunk tall, and then the leaves go another like 2 people tall kind of thing. They're huge. And again, you'll see those in the photos, the spread of the fan. Oops. So, oh, sorry, just throwing drills around. I pan the gimbal up the thing, and I'm trying to work the controls, because you've got to, it's not just a case of you panning, you actually have to joystick the controls, and then you've got to press the trigger, and I swear this thing is like playing a PlayStation. There's so many buttons and gadgets, and the thing that you think is the button isn't the button, and lordy. So yeah, it was interesting getting the hang of it, and it was fun. So I put it up and down the fern, and you know, got used to doing that, and got used to which button does which, and I still hadn't figured out all of them. So hubby I said, how do I get it to go from landscape to portrait? And he goes, oh, I know, it's a double press something or other. Well, eventually we figure it out. It was a double press of a button that I hadn't chosen yet, and suddenly it's going from upright to going, and you know, and whoa. So yeah, that made it even better for me. So I'm flying around, you know, with the gimbal up, the gimbal, you know, and all of this kind of thing, and learning about the follow feature, and yeah, it's amazing. And the zoom, oh my god. Yeah, it's like a demon possessed. Now the only problem I actually have with this thing is the photo taking app it uses is pretty dumb, and it doesn't automatically back up into my photos, and it doesn't automatically back up then to my Google.
That's not its fault. That's because you haven't selected back up the photos.
Maybe I was a bit scared. Yes. Okay, I did look at it last night and didn't see anything, but I'll talk to the hubby and we'll fix it. So I had to manually throw them all into photos yesterday.
That's all you.
And I did think it was going to be a user setting, but I wasn't sure when it said backup and sync where it would be doing that too. So anyway, I will fix it later. So I had a lot of fun with that. So if anyone is interested, it is the OM3 Mimo gimbal. Osmo gimbal. OM3. Yeah, it's an Osmo, but it's an OM3. Yeah, OM3 Mimo gimbal. And you will have seen me tag it if you follow my Instagram.
No, Osmo. The DJI Osmo 3.
Yes, dear. It is an OM3 according to the phone, looking for the creature. And it goes, I am an OM3.
Yes, that's the abbreviated.
Yes. Anyway, I did all the hashtags yesterday on my Instagram. Because I was thinking, it's an OS. And I was kind of going, no, it's an Osmo. It's an Osmo Mimo 3. There are other... It's a Mimo...
No.
M-I-M-O. It is that brand. Yes, it is.
Not.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Oh, there is one that you can get in the Osmo family. It's
DJI
called a Pocket.
Osmo Mobile 3. No Mimos. No OM3s.
I'm going to have an argument with
Osmo
him.
Mobile 3.
I am going to have an argument with him.
There's your box.
Uh-huh. Anyway, that's it. That's it. Yeah, I'm doing all the gimbal thing. That's it though. That's the handle here, like the kind of chunky gun handle, and that pops up and does all the things. Yeah, it's really cool. So I have a new toy and I have been playing with it, and I'll get it to talk to the things that it needs to talk to properly, and it'll be all good. So hopefully it will make some recording of movements much smoother than it has been, and all kinds of things that I kind of like to, I don't know, feel a little bit more professional, just, I don't know, just give a better kind of service, I guess. Now, speaking of service, I'm going to get all the, if I can, get all the technical channel kind of stuff dealt with, if I can now. So, I'm all the sweaty, far out. It's warm today and it's going to be even hotter tomorrow. It's like, yike. So, coffee membership. You can see it down the bottom here. If you would like to donate on a one-off or a regular, that's now available. And from a, I suppose, a patron? No. Oh, I don't know. As a creator of a coffee account, I actually get all of the money that's given. Whereas on YouTube land, only I would only get, and we all only get 70% of what's earned through YouTube. Now, I haven't figured out yet if there is a way of just letting my subscribers know things on coffee. I will get this sorted out. So if there is a way that I can only let subscribers know something, subscribers to the coffee account will be where I will do my like Patreon equivalent in a way. Haven't really explored the Patreon stuff yet. It may be that I can move to Patreon. We'll see how we go. So for now there's going to be that. And I will be able to do maybe a Patreon exclusive live. I'll get a regular time slot, and you know, it will probably clash with a creator, but because it's for members only, I don't think I'm going to be detracting from their viewership all that greatly. and I haven't decided when I'm going to do it or anything else, so I'm not saying I'm treading on A, B and C's toes and I don't care. I'm saying I haven't found the slot that is going to work for me best. I'm thinking kind of a weekend is good, but only from the point of view of that you have my, well, actually I'm not sure, because if I do it for a weekend, I know lives are very, very different from regular WiPnChats, for instance. I do all my talking for the WiPnChats on the Sunday, so I don't know. Am I going to be talked out on a Sunday and it needs to be more a midweek evening thing? I don't know. We'll see how it goes. So anyway, there's that, and I'm, you know, going to check all of that out. Can probably do it when I'm more convalescing and can't actually do any crafting. And all I can do is maybe look at a computer screen for short periods of time. And give myself some homework and say, do your damn research, Pippa. I will also be offering membership on YouTube. From that point of view, it will be fairly restricted. I'm not planning, because YouTube take a fairly big cut, I'm not planning on having membership tiers or anything. It would pretty much be a one price is all, and there's going to be very limited options as to what the memberships might get from that point of view. So if I can do the coffee and the membership, I will probably have that one membership live kind of thing for coffee and members. Otherwise it would be something fairly minimal, like you get the badge and, you know, I don't know, I'll work out something that kind of is a little bit of a perk, but and then maybe for the bigger perks there'd be something, if I was to do a bigger perk on one some or all of the platform. Yeah, I'll try and figure it all out. I'll keep you posted. Giveaways, because I got to 1,000 subscribers, they will be happening. I'm going to get over the Christmas mail. The world goes stupid when it comes to Christmas mail, so I will do it early in January. Depending on when surgery happens, I may be restricted as to what I can do about getting to the mailbox, so I don't want to be saying I'm doing a giveaway if I can't get to the mailbox that week. Or the post office even, because I will need to package stuff, and I mean, my husband's awesome, but I don't want to put the onus onto him for this either. So it could be the end of the month by the time the actual giveaways are done. You will be given a great big promo to it. Like, I need to make sure that I drop it into every video, that if I don't have your details already, you won't be in with a chance to win, all of that kind of thing. So following on, I guess, from that, if you're not in, you can't win. So please, 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 one of the first links in my description is the link to my Google form for the Pippa package. Okay, please fill in those details. I'm getting quite a few coming in, but you know, it's getting a bit slow now. If you would like to win something, if you would ever like to have a random package, that is where I will need your details. Your information is 100% confidential, and it means that I can, you know, have a flight of fancy and go, you know what, I'm going to send Pauline a fish in the post. You know what I mean. Okay, so please fill in those details. There's no point in me doing giveaways if you haven't filled in those details. And what I will be doing is having a floss orientated, a yarn orientated, and a diamond painting orientated thing. I did actually get books for colouring in. I haven't done really colouring in on my page. You know what? Somebody else made this comment on Mrs. Coffee's group, and it's true. It's really, really expensive to get some really, really good artistic mediums in Australia. You're quite spoilt in the States for things like Arteza, Uhuhu, all of that kind of thing. For us, And she was saying the same. For us to get artistic alcohol pens is really expensive, and that's off-putting. You know, if you're not sure that you want to get into it, it can be quite off-putting. So yeah, I kind of stalled, and I have to battle my brain as well when it comes to doing it. I know I'm artistic. I love doing art. It's been a long time since I've studied art, like it's been high school, to be honest. And the medium that I actually found I enjoyed the most back then were actually oil pastels, like I have already mentioned, I think, in a WiPnChat way back. So my most favourite thing was a great big, one of the flat baskets for cut flowers, and I did a great big bouquet cut flower thing in the basket. So yeah, that was my most proud painting. Now, I think I took my portfolios when I left my previous relationship, which meant that I kept my artwork and I kept the kids' artwork and everything else. I just can't think where the heck I put it, somewhere in the garage. That's all. But yeah, and I've said this before, I have this idea of what I want to put on the paper, and then my brain and my hand don't talk to each other the way they should, and I end up having a little bit of a brain fart in the middle, and I get frustrated with the results and self-defeatist, and I guess in a way not pushing through and practicing more, you know, that kind of thing, which, you know, it's all kinds of stupid. But I suppose there's quite a few psychological hang-ups with all of that. Oh, good lord, get up. Yeah, and it is what it is. And, you know, I don't have a whole heap of time available. When you're a parent, you're no longer a child, and, you know, you've got to get the chores done, you've got to get the tea. It's not like you're a kid and you've got all the leisure, a lot of the leisure time in the world. Yeah. And then there's the self-defeatist. It always comes back to the self-defeatist. So yes, I'm not going to put the blame on somebody else. It is all down to me, and killing my own creativity, killing my inner child, almost, or choking the inner child, and not letting her do a thing. Yeah. I think it was a movie or something. Anyway. So yeah, the giveaways, again, January. So I'm conscious of it. I want to get it done, and yes, it will happen. And, you know, my subscribers, like, have gone up exponentially by comparison to some of the days before the 1000k. So I suppose algorithms and all that kind of thing are changing in YouTube land. Somebody got an email. Another creator got an email from YouTube saying a whole load of, I guess, milestones or celebrations of the year. I haven't got that email yet, and it's like, oh, I want to hear, you know, the celebratory stories of, you know, Pippa's channel, that kind of thing. But yeah, anyway, we'll puddle along, we'll get there eventually. Yeah, so I have got up to date in my peppermint purple. I printed off, oh god, week 50. There's 2 boxes left. It's a bit sad. 2 small boxes, and I think the first box that I did this morning took me about half an hour. I was watching a movie, and we were, I don't know, it was less than a half hour in. I was already done, and it was like, wow. Really, really quick, really brilliant square. Loved it to bits. I'm so glad that Claire is continuing next year to do another stitch along in the blackwork thing. I'm kind of kicking myself that the flowers didn't take off. I've got all of the patterns available to me. I think I've downloaded or printed all of the patterns of the flowers. I think the problem might have come from the fact that there was no set frame, and there was no set, you know, you're doing 12 flowers over the month, this is your frame. Whereas the peppermint purple one that I did get tied into has a frame. Once you've got your frame, you then do each box and that kind of thing. So there was an incentive to fill in the bits. I didn't get started with the other one, and it's kind of fallen by the wayside. But the flower designs are just gorgeous, so I'm kind of kicking myself for that one too. Yeah, again, it's the getting lost in Facebook, or social media period. It's getting only so many hours of an evening when you work. Yeah, all of that kind of thing. Maybe I should... Sorry? It's Facebook. But it's also, I suppose, in a way, pressure on me. You know, I really don't need to be on Facebook except to maybe post or something. I don't know. Yeah. It's insidious. You know, I was thinking, there's a nacho group that I'm part of, which is a kind of like step parents backing off the children, like not your parent. Some of the philosophy I agree with, some of it I don't. Some of it's a little bit harsh. But from a point of view of some of the comments that were made about they get their teenage step and they bemoaned the fact that the step would come home and be on their phone all weekend. And I kind of went, yeah, teenage, yeah, you know, my step when she was living with us would be like that if she wasn't told, you know, phone free or whatever, you know, into the schedule and things like that. But there was a day back when my kids were young, and they were into the PlayStation, and I got hooked into Spyro or Zelda or something, and I swear to God, I was at home, dropped the kids off in the morning, came home and started playing on Zelda or Spyro. The next time I looked up, seriously, no kidding, it was like 5 hours later and it was time for me to pick the kids up again. It was like that. It just disappeared.
Yes,
and that's what happens when you go on a game too. And
who?
when you go into a game, when you go and play...
Oh, you don't mean me.
No, not you. Ye. Ye all, kind of.
Oh.
It's not a you particular. No, so people can and do get lost in these game worlds, artificial worlds, and time passes, and I guess, you know, you don't notice when you drink fizzy drinks that the tea has gone cold or the coffee has gone cold. You know, we notice it maybe as crafters. Oh, the coffee's gone cold, better get a refill. So you have that break away from whatever craft you might be doing, kind of thing. And you kind of go, oh, time has passed. You know, my coffee is cold. If you're just drinking a soft drink can, you're not going to necessarily, well, gosh, if your can has gone if your can has gone flat in the time that you've been drinking it, then you've got a problem. But you know, time just vanishes, and I think we just need to be careful of the whole, you know, teenagers get stuck in their phones. I don't know what it is that's addictive about these games. I think it's the challenge of, I can't do this or I can't do that. Now, I took 5 hours to get what would have been 1 hour of gameplay for my kids. It was ridiculous. It was just shameful. They just came home and they went, blue, 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 and they were done. And it was just like, I give up. Adrenaline and bright flashy lights, my husband says. He played games too.
Oh, yeah, but I've built chairs and stuff to do things like that.
Yeah, he built chairs, car racing games and stuff.
No.
Oh, no. What kind of games did you play?
I had a special chair that I got somewhere. It might have come off the tier 4, bought it somewhere. Made in Canada.
Oh, wow.
Right? And I took the upholstery apart and I mounted in it 2 base shakers each side. they're like speakers, but instead of just paper cones or rubber cones, they've got fiberglass plates.
Mm.
And they're bass shakers. They used to be installed in backpacks. Anyway, I had a whole heap of them, and I mounted them in this chair, and it basically meant that you could feel vibrations. And because it was in stereo, you could tell where it was. Combined with what you're hearing through your ears, it fools your body into thinking. You can feel, for example, a big monster stepping towards you. You can feel it shaking through the ground.
Okay, so what games would you have played?
Oh, there's only one, really.
Oh.
Unreal.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Anybody old enough to remember Unreal?
It was like Quake 2, but with proper graphics engine. But I played it as an adventure game, not as a shoot 'em up game.
Yeah, see, I was all against my kids playing the shoot-to-kill games just for the shoot-to-kill. Eventually, my oldest boy got into... oh, God. What was the one with the knight? Oh, brain fart. The one... Oh, sorry. Noise. I've gone blank.
Whatever it was.
Yeah, whatever it was. Not, yeah, it's like a Templar Knight kind of game. Really, really popular. He'd get into that with the, you know, the killing and the hunting and the jumping up and down on walls kind of thing, you know, and doing the whole ninja stealth. But normally it was things like Zelda, Spyro. They didn't really get into the Wii. I think the Wii was a stupid kind of system. The remote was good. The remote was good. That was about it. But the Wii games were really kind of lame. PS.
I bought an original remote from the States. Yeah,
PlayStation really was the console of game choice, I suppose, for my kids. They weren't too babyish or platformish maybe on the PlayStation. Anyway, PlayStation was the thing. I could play the PlayStation, therefore I liked for the kids. I could watch the kids playing their games on it as well. Yeah. So we kind of stuck with the PlayStation kind of ilk of games as well. You know, and it was what it was. We would maybe get them a game a year kind of thing, or they would save up and buy their own. Bought an awful lot of second hands. We still have a really good games shop where they guarantee their second hand games. So you know you're not hopefully going to get a dud, or at least your dud's going to be warranted, that you can bring it back if it doesn't work. I think we had one that didn't work. But in general, no, they were pretty good. And the guys in the store were, you know, pretty clued in. You know, could recommend what the kids could play with and stuff. And I think the eldest had got into a Game Boy of some kind. He had this, no, what was it? Not the Game Boy, the DS. He had the DS, the square one that had the flip lid. He had that one. So there was two of those in the house, you know, the older two. And then the younger two just got hangers on and got the leftovers from the boys afterwards. I still have my original Game Boy. Donkey Kong. I think I have Donkey Kong Jr. And I flip the batteries around when it's not in use, so I can pretty much pick it up and the thing will play when I flip the batteries around. It's freaking awesome. I'm still shit. Oh dear. And the sound is so repetitive. But I do crank it out every now and then. I could probably sell it for a couple of $100. It doesn't have the original box or anything else, but it is a pretty mint console as far as consoles go. You know, it just got packed away and just left in a drawer and, you know, played occasionally. Got the high score and, you know, you've got the whole sound and, you know, usually the sound was me getting killed by a barrel, but yeah. The one that I really enjoyed, that one of my friends had in boarding school, they had the one with the crocodiles. Now, what was it? There were crocodiles on the water, and there was the swinging vines. What came through the trees? Because I had the crane and the barrels, so the cranes would come down and knock you off, and the barrels would, you'd have to jump the barrels. There was crocodiles, and there was something in the vines. Maybe it was crows up in the vines that would take you out of the vines. Yeah, that was mine. But yeah, I got to watch that and play that at school, but didn't get to actually own that game. But it was fun. Yeah, so bit of reminiscing, I guess. Marcus is putting the bridge light together for me as we speak, hence the scratching noise. He's decided to fit the light pipes and find all the bits and pieces that he had already been amassing anyway. I'm not quite sure why he is taking this flight of fancy today. Oh, now I'm not going to belabor this point at all. I might even talk more about it on the vlog, but yeah, got up this morning and thought, well, let's just see how I go not taking my meds. Stupidly, my in-house concierge did a really shit job last night, and I went to bed without putting my pills beside my bed or the water bottle beside my bed. So this morning it was like, oh, so I couldn't take my pills half an hour before I actually got vertigo. That was my first problem. So I had to get up, went to the toilet, went and got my pills, got the water bottle, took my pills, and by the time I had literally walked to the kitchen around a bedroom, was, you know, yeah, I am kind of, I'm a bit sore. And I remember waking up during the night, I'd keep rolling over onto my back, being really sore, having to roll again, and it was just like, oh, man. So yeah, there was a flight of fancy where I kind of thought maybe I could go to the hospital without having had my painkillers and you know, the meds that I need to start my day off normally, because, you know, they're going to be taking out the thing that's causing the issue. Yeah, I don't think I can, and I don't think I'm prepared to be a hero either for it. So I'll talk to the nurse anyway whenever it is scheduled, but you know, to be there at 6:30, but I was like walking very, very slowly and gingerly. And of course, because Sophie being Sophie is a 2-year-old who leaves things lying around, she had taken her small chair into the bathroom. I thought I had moved it to a position last night that wouldn't be a problem, but of course did not my shin find it in the middle of the night, at the middle of the morning, as I was washing my hands and then going through the doorway. Of course, you know, not paying attention to what's down below my knees, I cracked my shin on the chair or the seat. I was like, ow! Yeah, the chair got moved after that. So, yes. So yeah, there's that. Alright, time for photos, I guess. As we chatter through, I will try and chatter and do photos. So yeah, we went to a place called Russell Falls this time. Make sure I'm on the right browser. Coffee that morning was this one. This is Marcus's rendition of Brain Fart. It's slightly off kilter, you'll have to tilt your head. But yes, you can see a brain and you can see the fart at the bottom. Yes, it's as much a challenge to get a blob turning into something as it is to have a blob that could look like anything. Anyway, we got to Russell Falls with the parents, and this is the first time we've really had a chance to connect with them for any considerable time. And the kids were off doing their thing further up the path, so there was less distractions here than there might have been around the house and that. So this is a little stone hut. It's actually got a name. I'm gonna open it briefly and then I'm gonna hopefully carry on. It's William Crook Shelter. I'm not entirely sure who William Crook is. I didn't take a picture of the plaque, but there's this obelisk a little bit further on as well that has his name on it. So he was obviously a dude from the area of some ilk way back. Don't know whether this was his house or what this was. This park is in the middle of rolling green fields as you approach. It was just a beautiful drive. I did take my knitting. I did get a few more rows done. There's this pretty little rock area. I don't know, it's probably, I didn't actually read these signs either. Probably full of Aboriginal elder kind of wisdom. And then there's the thingy on the ground that may or may not be significant. I don't know. As I said, I didn't walk up to it. I didn't look. I'm only guessing. But it probably tells you a little bit about the park or the people or the animals or something, and you know, it looked kind of pretty. So that was about as close as I went. Took a picture of the shelter from another angle, and again, I'm just holding my phone up and going click, click, click at this stage. So this is the park entrance, sorry, not the park entrance, this walk entrance sign. Shows a few of the trails there. As I've mentioned, I think on my vlog when I said where I was going, there's Lake Dobson, which is up the top, which is up in the ski fields, and there is the lower tracks for Russell Falls. There's Horseshoe Falls further up. We only were going to Russell Falls this time around. So you can see a few of those zigzags on that picture though. We then pass this little tiny area of scrubby grass, kind of marshy grass, and I don't think I got a picture of it, but so looking at this picture with the scrubby grass, to your left, if you were to turn 90 degrees to your left, there are flat paddocks, flat fields, where in the evening the wallabies come down and feast and everything else. It's not a campsite or anything. It's pretty much just a flat grass field where the wallaby can come down. But it's a great big grass field. Like, you know, in Ireland you'd have football and soccer kicked around, or a frisbee thrown by, you know, some teenagers and all that kind of stuff happening. Well, it was a nice day yesterday, but there wasn't many people around. Anyway.
Where was this?
At Russell Falls. At Mansfield. No, nobody lives there. No, but if you were going and staying and having a picnic kind of thing, there's picnic sites down in Wicklow that would be black with people.
I had seen people on that field.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't forget we're in COVID.
Yeah, true. Okay, so then there's this monument to Crook and whoever. So the path then takes us into the trees, effectively. We're in trees the whole walk. It's just sun-dappled and beautiful. There is fallen trees everywhere. There is moss everywhere. This is normally what could be a very, very dry and soggy situation. Sorry, wet and soggy situation. It was quite dry, this weekend. But yeah, potentially it could be quite rainforesty. You actually go from lowland to rainforest as you climb up to Lake Dobson at the top, which is something like 26 kilometers up zigzaggy roads. And when the snow is up there, it's interesting, let's just say, because you get some people who are idiots. They don't recommend that two-wheel drives go up there without chains and have all kinds of warnings and stuff like that. So I'm just taking pictures of some trees and stuff. There's now initially I've got pictures mixed in with Marcus, but I don't quite know how he got these because Google just did a weird thing. Oh, these are my photos mixed in with his photos, and then the Osmo photos got put in much later. So I might be rehashing some of the story rather than having it flow like it normally flows, just because Google's, you know, done it. Anyway, this is Marcus and his mum as they're walking along, and I thought I'm going to catch this for prosperity because, you know, he's not going to have many pictures of him and his mum to remember, and, you know, he's not young and she's not young, so you don't know how long you've got around with these people, so it's not like you take disadvantages with these pictures anymore. So I was conscious of taking the pictures with these people. They've railed all of this off. I don't know how long they have railed this walkway, but it does actually go into, I guess you'd call it a flood pan, which actually has another walk on the other side of it, but they don't want people crossing through this flood pan. I think the snakes are also down there too. Not that this is a snake barrier fence at all. So the river becomes more and more apparent. You can hear it more than see it in some places. And it's pretty. And then these tree fern, man ferns, have a wealth of plant life growing in them along the trunk. With all fern, bracken, orchids, and all of that kind of thing. So some very, very special plant ecologies going on in the tree ferns. I've got the overhead shot showing just the canopy above and tall trees, and I did actually take a panorama of one of the trees that you'll see, and like this thing just goes straight up and it just keeps going up and up and up, like you are literally looking straight vertical to see the top of the tree. It was quite incredible. There is a tree down here that I've got a picture of with Sophie in. I think somewhere along the way I've got a photo of my two boys when we first arrived here, the two older boys, standing in this too. I want to try and dig the photo out to have a bit of a kind of, you know, comparison before and after, yeah, because my middle boy is actually the lankiest out of everyone. He probably wouldn't even fit into the trunk at this stage. So yeah, it's just kind of have, you know, oh look, we were there, and you know, oh, this is our photo and this is her photo, and yeah, I've got a photo of AJ and Sophie actually lying down wearing a pair of dungarees, and they look, you know, identical in poses. And again, just showing how similar they are in a similar pose. You know, and yeah, it looks all kinds of cool. So yeah, took the obligatory thing, and it will also be interesting to see 20 years ago how much rotting and composting or decaying, that's the word I'm looking for, decaying has happened in that time too, because, you know, the tree has just been left. Nobody's preventing it from falling in on itself or anything else. So yeah, that's going to be a bit telling as well. Now, it would have been a paper photograph, so I don't know where that photo might be, if I can find it to be able to put them kind of side by side. So I'm not going to make any promises on that one. And then further up the path, there was just more this, you know, the deadfall underground on the undergrowth, the moss all over it, the man ferns, the tree ferns. There's actually there's a photo here, and it shows both Marcus and his mum walking under the tree ferns. You can actually get an idea how tall these bloody things are. He's 5'10", and she would be maybe 5'9", give or take. And the tree ferns to the top of the trunk are probably twice his height, and then the ferns as well out the top are, you know, another human high. So these things are huge, and they're just left to do their thing. So we get up to a bit more of the river, and I'm talking away with his dad, and then I get diverted by the photos, so he toddles off himself, I think, because I'm lost at this stage. And I think it's about here that I start to put the phone onto the gimbal, and some of the photos might merge a bit. So again, lots and lots of tree fern shots. I know I took most of these photos, but yeah, some of the photos went up earlier than the gimbal kind of program. But anyway, there's some more moss of some kind, or even ferns on the tree fern, so it kind of looks like a shaggy old bear, a bit like Sweetums from the Muppets, if you remember that shaggy monster. Okay, so this is the bottom of the fern. I'm using my gimbal. You can see all of the plant life on this beastie. And if I, wrong way, if I go up, there's the tree fern and the canopy. Isn't that amazing? Alright. And then we come to the waterfall. Now, the whole path has been paved with, we call it tar macadam, asphalt. I think you might call it macadam over in the States. Bitumen is the other one. So, black kind of surface. And then you get to the very end and it's a wooden viewing platform. On a good day, with high fall, you actually feel the spray coming off this waterfall, but it just keeps going up. So you can look level and you see the first tier, and then there are another 2 cake tiers on top of it with this gorgeous vertical fall right down to your foot, you know, to your feet. You're standing over where the river falls. It's quite incredible. I have the gimbal on at this stage and I've got some video clips that will go in. There weren't many people. I think there was one other family group there when we got there and one off to the side. So yeah, not overly crowded. And then if you keep going up this kind of zigzaggy path, you can make your way up to what's called Horseshoe Falls, which is a fall in the shape of a crescent kind of thing. I haven't been there for a long time. Yes, or even a shape of a horseshoe. So again, lots of trees of, sorry, lots of tree ferns. And I might just drop them in rather than keep talking, because I'll just get back to the WiPnChat and leave the photos speak for themselves. They're gorgeous, but yeah, the photos are going to continue through because, you know, they're pretty. Did try and take the phone, no, the gimbal thing had a setting where you can take, I think what it called a panorama, and it basically took 9 photos in a grid, so 3x3x3, and I haven't seen it piece that together. I haven't seen Google piece it together either, so I don't know if I have to manually stitch or what happens with that. There is an editing program within that photo kind of program, so I could maybe edit it in that and make a big panorama of all of the waterfalls, so it would have got everything, you know, top, middle and bottom kind of thing. So I'll wait and see how that goes. It just keeps going. Yeah, it was just amazing. Like I said, it's like everything was just green and mossy. There were no snakes that we saw, thank goodness. There was this Pandini. Pandini is like a very coarse dark green grass-like plant, and it's got these yellow, sorry, not yellow, oh god. It's got red fruit in amongst the base of some of the leaves. So you'll see that as you go through as well. There are Pandini groves when you go up onto the higher reaches, and the Pandinis are, you know, quite pretty. They kind of look, I suppose, to somebody who doesn't know anything, like a kind of palm tree in shape, you know, with the spiky leaves, but it's all big long spiky leaves. It's not like a palm kind of leaf with fronds or anything. These are all individual leaves. We didn't see the platypus. There is allegedly a platypus down on the river as it goes past the end of the centre, I suppose you call it. There's a centre where you can do some shopping. There was an artist there who had made some woven baskets from she oak needles. The needles from a she oak are around about the 4 to 5 inches long, and she had woven a basket, a small basket with a lid with the she oak needles, and had done a really, really nice job. Whether she's Aboriginal or not, or just an artist using natural mediums, I'm not quite sure. I didn't really investigate much more than that, but was really impressed with her basket weaving. Very, very pretty. There was people who had done some resin bowls with some wood, and they'd put some stuff into the resin, and some really, really gorgeous display bowls and things. And again, in lots of different mediums. Resin was popular, wood was popular, mixing mediums was there as well, and then there was some photos that I think they must have a resident artist, because the artwork always looks the same. I think it was something like Peter Gregg or Greg Phillips, or, you know, something like that in the name. And you could buy a print, a poster size print, for I think $20, or you could buy one of the framed pieces for something like $210, like an absolute bargain, for these gorgeous paintings, or not paintings, photos, photo-worthy artwork of things like the Pandini, or you know, other kind of scenes that would be kind of iconistic of rainforest in Mountfield. So it's kind of cool. Yeah, I just did a bit of the touristy thing. We didn't buy anything. We did get some lunch at the nearby National Park Hotel. That was interesting. The Wi-Fi password was the best. We didn't ask why the Wi-Fi password was what it was, but it certainly perked my ears up, and I kind of went, ooh. But yeah, there was Wi-Fi and the Wi-Fi password, but we just got a bite to eat with the parents. I gave his mum the stained glass cake, stained glass window cake. It's made with green and red glacé cherries. It's a white cake, it's a white fleshed fruit cake, Marcus says. It's a white cake, not a brown fruit cake. But it's a white cake, and it's got the green and red of the glacé cherries. It's got the orange for apricot. It's got white Brazil nuts cut in half, and it's got dates. Marcus's favourite cake. His grandmother used to make it with something like 7 layers of icing, he said. And when I'd said to his mum what it was, I kind of got, oh yeah, that's very nice kind of thing. And she probably wasn't putting together the visual with the name of the thing, which is fine. But when she opened up the cake, the look of delight, I think, when it registered what it was, and Ron's looking at it going, oh, I haven't seen one of those for years, yeah. You know, I said, no, this is Mother's recipe, you know.
It was a thing.
I think they were quite impressed that I had done it. Now, I have actually, when I was making it, full confession, I tasted the raw dough because, you know, it's cake. I tasted the raw dough, and I'm actually going to get my camera back up so I can be weird and creepy and look at myself. Not. I just want to see what the camera's doing. So I tasted it, and the dough, the raw batter, along with raw egg, you know, you remember remember doing this as a kid. You ate the raw cake batter and it had egg in it. Yeah, didn't kill us. Or anything. Now, I'm looking for... Right, so I have got P.
No, because the ones that did do that
The ones that
and died,
undied.
obviously aren't alive anymore.
No, well, they're not.
Right.
Okay, hang on. I'm twisting. Where's the tea? Tea. Okay. So... What was I just doing? Gee, I'm an idiot. H, yeah. Sorry?
Hasn't this movie ended yet?
No. Aren't they all dead yet? Yeah, so I tasted the raw batter and I went, oh crap, it's really salty. Oh no, I don't know if I've ruined it. And Marcus is kind of going, well, throw it out and start again. And I'm kind of going, no, I'll cook it. We'll wait and see, you know, how we go. So I cut the cake in half. They get half, we get half. That was the intention. And I give Marcus and I a little sliver to taste test. Because I absent-mindedly went and measured, well, I took out the small measure, which is in the salt pig, as Marcus calls it, the salt jar, which is a 1/4 spoon, thinking I needed a 1/4 spoon for the recipe. Well, it turned out all I needed was actually a pinch, and my pinches are a lot smaller than my 1/4 teaspoons, which was a little bit on the generous side. But when it cooked, thank God it was not too salty. But I did cook it for that bit longer than I needed to, and it was drier, I suppose, on first cut than it needed to be, because when I made it 2 weeks ago, I got scared because I undercooked it, and I was overcompensating, and it was a little bit overcooked. Fine on day 1, but it's not going to be fine on day 2 or 3. So I've now got to get the rest of the ingredients again because I'm running low on the glacé cherries. So I'll go over to the delicatessen where I found green glacé cherries. Could not find green glacé cherries in the supermarkets at all. It was impossible. They would say that they sold these little pots of glacé cherries. I need the U-turn. Excuse me. They said that they would sell them, but then when you actually go to put them in the cart, it was like, nah, not available. And I was just like, oh my God, how am I going to get these? And then the Brazil nuts are not cheap. Well, no nut is really cheap here. Cashews and Brazil nuts are extortionately expensive. So I've got a big bag. I'm only using what's needed. So I keep on resealing it. Thank God we have a vacuum sealer because I just keep resealing it and it lasts for ages. So there's that.
Stained glass window cake is fantastic with ice cream.
Right. We don't have a microwave to warm it either now.
Which is where the whole have your cake and eat it too came from.
Ah, right.
What do you like for dessert? Would you like ice cream or cake? I think I'd like to have my cake and eat it too.
Right. Okay, see, that's not a thing. Here it's just like you have a spoonful of everything. And don't have a full dessert of anything in particular. Or you just keep going back and back and back. Yes. And my family are not overweight. We were, I think we just ate well. But no, we would have a spoon of trifle and a spoon of chocolate ripple cake, as I think I was talking about as well. Yeah. So that's kind of where we're at with the cake. I've got to, well, there's nothing really I can make. See, for Christmas I usually kind of make things like trifle, and I'm one of those, I'm reluctant to say it. Am I a bad parent or just a bad mother or not? I would have trifle for breakfast then for days. My kids would have a bowl of trifle with me as well for breakfast. It just, you know, it's just jelly and fruit and, okay, there's cream and custard on top as well. Oh, the shame. And then there's cheesecake. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do. With me being potentially bedridden for 2 weeks, I'm not going to be running off any of these calories, so it's even worse to actually have them sitting in the kitchen.
Sure, I'll eat them for you.
Yeah, you say that now, but you don't when it comes to it.
Well, you're not going to know because you're not going to be out of bed.
Oh, right. It's very hard to...
Don't worry if Mocha looks a little bit fat.
Yeah, he's been put on a diet a couple of times. I gave him leftovers and then it was like, whoa, you're getting a bit pork barrel-y, so yeah, you're cutting back.
Being the dog out the door.
Mocha's being, yes, Mocha is the dog out the front door.
Garbage is
He always gets the leftovers anyway. In most cases he will get the leftovers. I won't give him Nutella because there is chocolate in the spread and it could be okay in the form that it is. I just don't want to take the risk. So he doesn't get Nutella. He gets the pasta and he gets, well, anything else that goes. He's very picky. He doesn't like his vegetables. He's very naughty. But other than that, no, he'll eat the stuff that gets thrown out to him. Because the wallabies are brave and, well, he's not exactly territorial. He'll bark at somebody going past, but he's not get away, get away, get away. And he's quite happy to let the birds come down and take his food out of his bowl. And we often feed him in the morning and there's a parade of starlings and blackbirds that then come down and pilfer from him. He doesn't bark at them either. He's quite laid back. I think he misses his buddy. He certainly would play rough and tumble with Latte out in the yard. I think he misses that. He's very much turned into a cat again. He curls up on the chair. Today, because it was getting hot, he was actually lying on the cement because he was getting hot, I reckon. So he was lying on the shaded cement, just chilling. He wasn't panting or anything. He was just chilling on the cement, keeping nice and cool. Yeah, he gets all excited when I go out, which means that when I go out, Sophie wants to come out, and Sophie's kind of going, ooh, and she's all scared because Mocha's, eyeball height with her. But she is the one who feeds him now. She will know to get the 2 cups and feed Mocha his 2 cups, so it's all kinds of cool. So she feeds him and I distract him, so that she can get to his bowl without kind of fretting. There was actually one day, I think it was maybe yesterday morning. No, not yesterday. She didn't feed him yesterday. The day before, she dropped Flopsy on the ground right next to his bowl, and it was only when she went back to feed it the second cup to Mocha that she kind of went, oh yeah, and Flopsy. And grabbed Flopsy up as well. But Mocha was kind of going, ooh, there's food in the bowl. Ooh, there's a thing next to my food. And I kept kind of, going backwards and forwards towards it. Yes, I must take a photo and do that pet challenge that I've seen Mrs. Coffee, Rachel and Cal so far doing, showing their dogs and, do they like riding in the cars and all that kind of thing. Mocha, yes, loves riding in the car. He's such a good dog in the car, actually. He jumps in without a problem, jumps onto the passenger seat and just sits there and looks out the window as you go along. Really, really good. Doesn't get car sick or anything. I had my teenage dog when I was a teenager, not when he was a teenager. My teenage dog, Tinker, he loved the car, but he would actually curl up in the footwell and go asleep half the time. He was really unfazed by travelling in the car. If only dogs live longer. Anyway. So yeah, I'll fill that in. There's only a few questions about the dog, but I need to get a nice photo of him. And I'll share that. He's fine now that he isn't untowardly influenced by my brainless retriever, who I adored. Latte was lovely, but oh god. When they went on a run, holy cow, it was like stuffing between the ears until they had finished their play. And the face on Latte when he came back from having a run was just like, hey mum, did you see that? Did you see that? Did you see that? That was fun. Can I go again? And he was wrecked. Like, they'd come back completely exhausted, flopped down on the floor for the rest of the day, and, you know, not a peep out of them. Oh, lunatics. But they would have had fun wherever they were, I don't know, chasing kangaroos, or birds, or whatever the hell they did. Yeah. So we have no plans now for next week, because we don't know where we're going to be, from a operation point of view. So we'll make a decision when we know what's happening, whether we go for a walk or I'm convalescing. Marcus was being very mean on, I think, Friday. He was going, how long are you not able to drive in the car? And I said, well, the paperwork says I'm not allowed sit up for more than eating food and drinking coffee and going to the toilet for 2 weeks, and I'm not allowed to drive for 3 weeks. And he's kind of going, but that's not an answer. And I'm going, it is a freaking answer. Yeah. So he's kind of going, so you're allowed to actually sit up while you eat. Like, he thought I couldn't actually sit up. And I said, no, I'm allowed to sit up to eat meal. Yeah. I'm allowed to sit up to eat a meal the length of time it takes a normal person to eat a meal. Which is funny because, you know, this is where the clinical nurse and I got chatting saying, oh, well, I'm a boarding school kid and it takes me no time at all. And she said, oh, funnily enough. Yeah, and, you know, it was like two strangers connecting kind of thing. But it doesn't take me long. But no, it's like half an hour sitting upright to eat a meal, and then I've got to pull the plug and go and lie down again. And I can walk. I think the thing is to walk 20 meters every hour in that first 2 weeks, but it's pretty much nothing else from there. Yeah, so it's going to be a quiet 2 weeks. And then even when I am driving again, I mean, I've got to go, oh gosh, come out. I have to go and get my dressing changed. Oh, that got jammed good and proper. I have to go and get my dressing changed. Now we're 15 minutes from that appointment. The driving is not allowed because of the action I would be taking as a driver. So the twisting, the turning, the looking kind of thing. But as a passenger, yeah, they probably wouldn't want to be passengers either for much longer in the first week. So, I mean, like, Marcus has got to take me home from the hospital. They're not going to be taking me home in an ambulance or anything. So, yeah, we'll puddle along. He'll get the instructions direct from the nurses, as I told him today, and it was kind of like, fine, I'll do that then. So, you know, there won't be any more arguing. He'll get the instructions from the nurses, and he'll be able to say...
Vague, and you're avoiding direct questions.
He reckons I'm being vague when what I'm actually doing is just repeating the same question, because that's what's written. You know, if you can't drive for 3 weeks, you know, you wouldn't be able to necessarily sit in a car for... Well, if you can't sit up for more than a meal, half an hour...
Not the same as being a passenger.
No, but if you can't sit up for any longer than it takes to eat a meal or drink a cup of coffee, then driving as a passenger is going to be out as well.
Being a passenger in a vehicle for 2 hours is a lot different to driving to the doctor. So I was being quite specific with my language before you continued to criticise me.
He wants to be able to take me for a drive,
yes,
just as a bit of a break and all that kind of thing, and I'm kind of thinking, it's fine. It really is.
It's not fine. We get halfway through, and all of a sudden we have to call an ambulance.
No, I won't be getting halfway through. I won't be going at all. Anyway. He'll get all these instructions. As it is, I'm trying to practice log rolling in the bed when I'm rolling around. That's going going to be interesting, having to consciously kind of not move and then
Change your
roll around in one uniform motion.
slowly.
And even like last night, I'm conscious of the movements that I do on an everyday basis, reaching up to the med box up over the stove fan, and I won't be able to do that, and I'll have to get Marcus to lift the boxes down so I can do the med dispensing kind of thing. You know, if I can even do that, because at the moment I do it and he doesn't, so he
Because
wouldn't
I
even.
hate reaching up
Yeah, because he hates reaching up, but he can't look up. He can, you know, reach up. But
Well,
anyway,
yeah.
if he reaches up, if he looks up, he sees stars potentially.
And then the end of the world comes.
And then he moans and complains and goes, "Oh, I'm so, you know, dying," kind of.
Well, now I realise what I've done.
Yeah.
Which can
2 hours later,
it's like,
he'll go,
oh,
"I did something." Yeah, yeah. So then he'll get in the bad books with me because he's done something he shouldn't have done. So, yeah.
It's such a weird thing, though. I mean, you can be bending over.
Yeah, I was conscious of you doing that when you were putting the memory into the computer, and it was like, oh God, he's going to start looking up in a minute.
Looking at something on the floor without bending your neck up.
Yeah.
And then somebody will distract you and you look up to them.
Mm.
And that'll be enough to trigger it.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll puddle through how we do, but yeah, I got a comment from somebody who watches my channel, and she said that her mum had the operation. I think she said that she had to get it repeated 3 times, or it was done 3 times, repeated twice, because potentially she didn't look after herself and it re-ruptured, and it was like, oh God, yeah, please don't tell me that. I don't want that to happen. I don't want to do the wrong thing to then,
Exactly
you know,
what you need to hear because
you know,
yes.
I don't want to do the wrong thing and do something wrong for my healing. And I think I've been pretty good in any post-op care that I've done before. But this one's quite, you know, it's quite serious. Like I was told, you cannot lift more than 5 kilos. And the clinical nurse then proceeds to say, and you realize that anything that is at the end of your arm is 3 times heavier than it would be if it was in tight to your body. And that kind of thing. It's just simple physics. So yeah, got to keep all of that kind of thing in mind. And again, I was super conscious of it in the kitchen, you know, just yesterday. And can I do it? Where can I do it? You know, what am I going to have to just go, I can't do that? And how frustrated am I going to be by not being able to do certain things? And what am I going to be able to let go or not let go of? And all of that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I'm already kind of going, okay, the house is messy because I can't fix it as it is. You know, the house is messy with Marcus's toys everywhere, and my stuff. I mean, my stuff generally tends to get gathered. You have got to be kidding me. That's it. Phew. I thought I was out of the drill colour I needed. That was a little bit scary. So yeah, I'm going to have to lower my expectations, if not drop them completely, just to stay sane and not freak out myself, and just kind of go, look, if the house is still functioning and I can still, you know, I don't know, change Sophie or not change Sophie, and I don't know. Not feel like I'm dictating everything every 5 minutes. I'll be fine. You know, I am going to be conscious of, have I got tea? Can I get a tea? Can I, you know, can I get this without having to ask? Certainly not in the first couple of days I'm home, I would imagine. But I don't know how attentive Marcus will be as nursemaid. Not that he won't be attentive, but, you know, will he be at my beck and call, or will he, I don't know, he might relish the enjoyment of me not being around under his feet because I'll be in the bedroom rather than the lounge recording, or on the lounge in the same space as him. It might be like me being back at work kind of thing, and he just falls into his usual routine. At the moment he's bemoaning me breaking his routine because he isn't doing the flip, turn over, that flip. I've disrupted his routine because he doesn't have the take me to work and pick me up from work routine happening. So he's all out of sorts with that. Yeah. So there you go with that. Got 2 colours left. All the yellows. Quite confetti-like. Ooh, they all ended up rather collected down the bottom. Now I'm going to grab my stylus and shut that music off. Hello. I think I've just seen a message from a friend saying send help. I think it's a bit windy somewhere up north on the Big Island. Yeah. And she needs to tell me more about where the cyclone happened, so I'm going to message her when I get off as well. And say, tell me more about the cyclones, when she's a bit less distracted. Yes. Then what I'm going to do is stitch. Hopefully I would like to get some more of the hair done on my Not a Mermaid. What else am I going to be doing? Oops, there's Jay. I just put it back. You'd think I'd know where I just put the thing. There. I did look. I'm going to make a more conscious look now. Maybe I should try it upside down. There's a space, I think it's a space reasoning test. You see these puzzles online all the time, like they come up on my Facebook feed all the time. Find the B in all the picture of 8s kind of thing. I was always really good at that kind of scan, spot kind of thing. A little bit, I guess, whereas Wally-ish. Except with Wally, you actually need to look at the detail rather than the overall scan. Just a different kind of brain switching on kind of thing, I suppose. But I do enjoy those kind of puzzles. What I used to do at work, I think probably before YouTube came along and I had that as a distraction, I would switch my brain off from the paperwork and everything else by doing a word search. I had a word search from our dollar kind of store, discount store, and I would do a word search that would take, I think, 10-15 minutes. It wasn't many, but again, it's that whole look at the page, scan, find the words that jump, and then when you find the words that jump, you can then start going into the nitty-gritty. Well, where is there a gap that there is likely to be a word? All of that kind of thing. I used to do Sudoku. I maybe did Sudoku when Una was around, my stepmom. She used to do the complex crosswords. I never understood them. She tried actually helping me with them on occasion, and helping me kind of look at the whole wordplay and that. But I tended to just go for the simplex. These were the Irish Times crossword too. There were two papers when I grew up in Ireland, two day tabloid papers. Sorry, not tabloids. News sheet papers. They're the ones that you have like folded in half and then rippled. But when you opened them from half, then you opened them like broadsheets. I think you might call them in the States, the old kind of broadsheets. And the Irish Times and the Independent were the broadsheets, and then the tabloid, well, nobody ever dealt with the tabloid. And the tabloid that we had in Ireland when I was growing up was called the Evening Herald. And then there was the Star and the Sun, and that. I used to read the Evening Herald because it was kind of like a middle ground. You know, it was, the English was not university standard. It wasn't done in Times New Roman. It was a tabloid size, so it was much smaller. It came out, I think, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon was the first print, and there were 2 or 3 prints in a day. So if you got the first one, you'd get maybe a different kind of news on the front page from, you know, the second or third run, depending on what was going on that evening. And it had a purple header as far as I can remember. It was, or maybe it was the Evening Press I'm thinking of. But the Evening Herald was the evening paper I would tend to get, if anything. As a reader myself, I got the Irish Independent. My dad got the Irish Times. But when I moved out, I don't think we brought the daily paper anyway. I think I'd listened to the national radio station in Ireland, and you'd kind of get the news from them because it was the national radio station, so they were the official RTE Telefíséireann, Radio Telefíséireann was actually, so it was Radio and Television Ireland was the name of the channel on the TV and the radio, and it was like RTE1 or RTE2 or Radio 1, Radio 2. And Radio 2 was the music, and Radio 1 was the boring adulty stuff.
Or being R.
Or being R, yes. And then of course you had the pirate radio stations that had all the unaffiliated news and things like that. The Irish pirate stations are pretty good though. I used to listen to Nova 107, Nova 107, yeah, I think it was, or Nova 103, something like that. I even went into some of the radio stations on occasion because you could do things like that. But when it first started, it was very much like the movie with Bill Nye and Radio Caroline.
We're going to talk about the goodies.
No.
And the pirate radio station.
Oh God. Yeah, no, it was Radio Caroline when they had to broadcast in the Irish Sea, and that's where the whole term pirate came from, because they were on a ship.
Yeah, but the goodies had it in the submarine or something, didn't they?
Oh, I don't know. All I remember from the goodies really is the golden egg. And if you're American, I'm sorry, but you probably never heard of the goodies. The goodies were British comedy at its silliest. It was good, adult, silly humour. Whereas the likes of Kenny Everett was all kinds of, you know, tongue-in-cheek, denigrating to women kind of thing. Although Kenny was quite funny. He was gay. And he used to cross his legs when he talked. And he would have this saying in the most, something like in the most worst possible taste. And as he said the phrase, in the worst possible taste, he would fling his legs up in the air and cross the legs the other way around. And it was all kinds of ham, I suppose. But he was quite funny, and I think he died of AIDS way back when all that kind of crap was going on. And all our big stars dropped their clogs from AIDS. and we lost some amazing people.
No, they got AIDS because they dropped their clogs.
Okay.
They popped their
Okay,
clogs.
don't be rude.
Okay, sorry.
No, it was really quite tragic for the world how many people did die of AIDS,
Anyway,
especially when, you know,
look at the
it wasn't known. But yeah, we were talking about the goodies.
Bill Oddie died recently, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Bill Oddie was the twitcher, bird watcher, and he would do Oddie Goes Wild, I think was the show that he would do. He was like a bearded idiot. Well, he wasn't an idiot. He was a very smart man. But yeah, he did the bird watching show, and the goodies were just silly. It was just awesome. Kind of like Monty Python-esque, but it was just 4 university friends. Like, Graham was the nerd of the 4 of them. It was, you know, he was quite normal, and yeah, it was the oddest bunch of blokes ever.
4?
3.
3.
3. But yeah, Graham was like straight, you know, monotone, and didn't seem like the funny man at all to the other 2. Bill, who's silly, and hang on, Tim Brooke Taylor. Tim was just, he was a bit like Mike from the Monkees. It was that kind of era of silliness. All harmful, reasonably harmful silliness until they got bombed by the goose with golden eggs.
Harmless.
Harmless, yes, not harmful. Oh. Yeah, should have had more coffee today.
Blame on the drugs. That's
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think they were too misogynistic. There might have been some hapless females that needed rescuing at some points. But yeah, the goose that laid the golden egg, the eggs exploded, and you know, they were driving around in their car, a little bit Mr. Bean-ish.
Mr. Bean was after.
Yeah, Mr. Bean was after. Rowan Atkinson, he's a whole other ilk of wacky genius too. He's another very smart man in the whole British comedy circuits. Very visual comedy from him and his little teddy bear. And then they went on and did a cartoon. That was weird. That was very weird. I don't know how Mr. Bean became a cartoon. Yeah. And I don't know what's happened to all my old Saturday morning peoples. You know, they were all young 20s when I was a kid. They weren't old, I don't think, but the likes of Noel Edmonds and Keith Chegwin and Maggie Philbin then went on to do Tomorrow's World, the science show. Don't know what else she did after that, but she did the science show where they did like the science news on a Sunday evening, and you find out all about new breakthroughs in science. It was fascinating for me, watching Tomorrow's World, and it'd be really interesting to see where some of the Tomorrow's World things are now that they were announcing were big back then. You know, are they still big now? Like, it would have, for instance, been the breakthrough with the mobile phone and how it was, you know, such a breakthrough, and, you know, is it there or is it not, or solar power, or, you know, that kind of thing. And they did start doing then kind of like a Tomorrow's World for kids that my kids would watch. There was like a science-based show where the kids would be the reporters, and yeah, that was quite informative. I used to enjoy the kids watching that as well. And I guess they've inherited it because, you know, I've got a son who is very much an engineer, another son who is now considering going into engineering. Yes, so I'm quite proud of that. Nice to see that their brains are working in that way. And then the other two are into well, I suppose one is into the engineering of coffee and beer, the last I heard, and the other one is into arty stuff. But yeah, it's this time of year that I start to kind of, well, not that I start to, I always miss them, but it's kind of like, yeah, you really aren't seeing them this time of year. So don't dwell there too much. So next week I really don't know what's going to happen. If you want to stay up and up to date, I'm not even sure what videos are going up this week. I think this video is going up Monday, Tuesday. There's definitely a video going up on Thursday. There's a video going up for this on Wednesday, and there will be the vlogs. So other than the vlogs, there may be other videos. I may even change my usual schedule, being midnight on midnight my time, which is I think 5 in the morning maybe. I never changed it, I just did it midnight. I think it was 6 in the morning at the beginning of the day for stateside. So I might tweak that so that the vlog goes out you know, half a day instead of half an hour in advance of each other, so you've got a bit of a gap between videos. So yeah, if you want to stay in touch with all things new, check out the vlogs. They have been fun. Marcus, you've heard him join in today, and that's all well and good, but when he joins in with the peanut gallery, as I called it in a couple of the vlogs, it got quite silly and funny, and people seem to enjoy that. So I guess we're a bit more chilled because the vlog, I'm not doing anything else. I might be opening an Advent gift, but that's only every 2 days, which today is one of them because it's an odd day. Otherwise, it's just me jabbering to the camera. He didn't join in last night, and it was very nice to have somebody comment saying that they really enjoyed the video, even though it wasn't with him. Yes, but yeah, there's that. And yeah, as soon as I know anything, it kind of gets into the vlog. So if I know something that day, then the vlog will be updated, and you know, we can go from there. Can't promise a walk next week, so you may or may not get photos next WiPnChat, depending on whether or not I have gone into hospital, may or may not even be, excuse me, may or may not even be from the bed. I might be knitting in bed and just kick the laptop into action. You know, it's nice having that bit of freedom. Alright, I'll take a picture of this and pop that in as my thumbnail. Hope you enjoy it. Little hummingbird, last thing to do. So be this one next. Maybe I'll do it during the week, so I can, and we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, I'll let you go. Take care of yourselves. Check out the playlists on my channel if you want to get more content, if you want to catch up, if you want to just, you know, binge watch, and I will see you around on the tubes. Bye for now. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, and the rain fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand.